Friends, gather round. Today we're diving into a topic that's as bewildering as it is shocking. Imagine, if you will, a world where international diplomacy is treated like a casual game night with friends. Sounds absurd, right? Well, hold on to your seats, because reality has a way of outdoing fiction. Let's talk about a little thing called diplomacy. You know, that intricate dance of negotiations, treaties, and mutual respect that keeps the world from descending into chaos. It's a delicate art, honed over centuries, requiring patience, wisdom, and a deep understanding of global dynamics. Or more accurately, the utter lack thereof in recent times. We've seen a shift from carefully crafted strategies to impulsive decisions that leave even seasoned diplomats scratching their heads. You see, our commander-in-chief, in his infinite wisdom, has decided to grace us with yet another bold proposal. A proposal so audacious, it makes you wonder if it's all just a grand performance. This time? Oh, just casually suggesting the United States should, and I quote, take ownership of Gaza. Yes, you heard that right. Gaza. The Gaza Strip. Yes, you heard that right. Gaza. The Gaza Strip. That tiny, densely populated, politically volatile piece of land on the Mediterranean, a place that has been at the heart of one of the most complex and enduring conflicts in modern history. That tiny, densely populated, politically volatile piece of land on the Mediterranean. A place where every square inch is steeped in history, conflict, and the hopes and dreams of millions. It's ours now, apparently. Just like that. Now you might be thinking, John, surely there were high-level meetings, strategic planning sessions, maybe even a strongly worded memo or two before this bombshell was dropped. And to that I say, bless your naive heart. Because if there's one thing this administration loves more than a good old-fashioned tweet storm, it's making major geopolitical decisions on the fly. This wasn't a carefully considered policy shift, my friends. It wasn't even a fully formed thought. It was, by all accounts, a whim. A fleeting idea that somehow made its way from a casual conversation to a public declaration. A presidential brainwave whispered into existence during a particularly dull round of golf. Imagine the scene. A sunny day, the gentle hum of golf carts, and amidst the serene backdrop of manicured greens, a thought bubbles up. Why not Gaza? And the best part? Nobody, least of all the people paid to think about these things, had a clue it was coming. The announcement hit like a bolt from the blue, leaving advisors, diplomats, and the general public in a state of collective bewilderment. How does one even begin to process such a declaration? The implications, the logistics, the sheer audacity of it all. It's as if the world has become a stage for the most unpredictable reality show, with each episode more astonishing than the last. Let's be clear, governing is not like ordering a steak. There are processes, protocols, things called experts and advisors who generally like to weigh in before we go around claiming entire territories as our own. But in the Trump administration, those pesky little things are more like suggestions. And suggestions, as we all know, are for suckers. No, this wasn't a decision forged in the fiery heart of the Situation Room. This was pure, unadulterated Trump off-the-cuff, unscripted, and about as well thought out as a toddler's finger painting. The State Department, caught completely off guard. The Pentagon, still trying to figure out if they needed to start drawing up troop deployments or just order some extra sunscreen. The lack of planning was, to put it mildly, breathtaking. It was like watching someone try to parallel park a cruise ship. A lot of frantic maneuvering, a very real chance of collateral damage, and absolutely no indication that the person behind the wheel had the slightest clue what they were doing. So how did we get here? How did we find ourselves in the midst of yet another geopolitical quagmire, with the world watching in a mix of disbelief and concern? How did the leader of the free world decide that what America really needs is another geopolitical hot potato? It's a tale as old as time, or at least as old as the current administration. Well, you can thank, or blame depending on your perspective, one Steve Witkoff, a man whose influence stretches far beyond the boardroom and into the very heart of international politics. Now Steve, for those unfamiliar, is one of Trump's many envoys. But he's not just any envoy. He's a real estate mogul with a knack for making waves. He's also, according to sources, the guy who planted the seed for this whole Gaza takeover business. It all started with a seemingly innocuous brainstorming session. You see, Steve recently took a little trip to the region. A trip that was supposed to be a simple fact-finding mission but turned into something much more. A fact-finding mission, if you will. But what Steve found was far from simple facts. It was a complex web of issues that he felt compelled to unravel, and what he found apparently was not pretty. The region is a tapestry of conflict, hardship, and resilience. Now, I'm not saying Gaza is a picnic, far from it. The area is fraught with challenges that have stymied even the most seasoned diplomats. It's a complicated, challenging place, a place where every decision has far-reaching consequences, and every action is scrutinized. But Steve, bless his heart, seems to have returned from his whirlwind tour with the subtle nuance of a runaway wrecking ball. His observations were blunt, his conclusions even more so. He painted a picture of utter despair, poverty, unemployment, Hamas running amok. It was a dire portrait that left little room for hope. And Trump, being Trump, apparently decided there was only one solution: slap a Property of USA sign on the whole damn thing. A solution as simplistic as it was audacious. Never mind the complexities of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the decades of history, the sheer logistical impossibility of it all. These were mere details in the grand scheme of things. Nope, Steve saw a problem, and Trump, in his infinite wisdom, decided to fix it with the grace and subtlety of a bull in a china shop. It's a bold move, one that has left the world holding its breath. The international community is watching closely, with reactions ranging from cautious optimism to outright condemnation. The stakes are high and the outcome is uncertain. History has shown us that such bold moves can either lead to groundbreaking peace or catastrophic conflict. The world waits to see which path this will take. As for Steve Witkoff, his role in this unfolding drama is far from over. Whether he will be hailed as a visionary or vilified as a meddler remains to be seen. One thing is certain: the story of Witkoff's wild ride and the birth of this audacious idea is just beginning. The world will be watching every twist and turn. Now you might be wondering, how did everyone's favorite frenemy, Benjamin Netanyahu, take the news? The news that could potentially reshape the entire Middle Eastern landscape, no less. It's not every day that a world leader gets blindsided by a major geopolitical announcement, especially one that involves their own backyard. So, how did Bibi, the man with a reputation for being unflappable, handle it? After all, it's kind of his neighborhood we're talking about annexing here. The stakes couldn't be higher and the implications couldn't be more profound. We're talking about a region that's been a flashpoint for decades, a place where every move is scrutinized, every decision has far-reaching consequences. Well, Bibi, being the seasoned political operator that he is, managed to maintain a straight face throughout the whole ordeal. It's a skill he's honed over years of navigating the treacherous waters of international politics, but even the best poker face can't completely mask the turmoil beneath the surface. But the look in his eyes, that was a different story altogether. Eyes, as they say, are the windows to the soul, and in this case they were windows to a soul grappling with a sudden, unexpected crisis. Imagine, if you will, the scene. Trump, beaming, announces his grand plan. The room goes silent, cameras flash, the air is thick with anticipation and uncertainty. Every eye in the room is on Netanyahu, waiting to see how he will react. That was pure, unadulterated, oh dear God, what fresh hell is this? It's the kind of moment that would make even the most stoic of leaders break a sweat. But Bibi? He stood there, absorbing the shock, processing the implications, and trying to formulate a response that wouldn't set off a diplomatic firestorm. And Bibi, standing there with a rictus grin plastered on his face, is probably thinking a million thoughts at once. Thoughts racing through his mind, each one more urgent than the last. How do you respond to something like this on the fly? Thoughts like, is this a joke? Is this some kind of elaborate prank? Because it certainly feels like one. The sheer audacity of the announcement is enough to make anyone question its legitimacy. Please tell me this is a joke. But deep down, he knows it's not. This is real. And it's happening right now. The weight of the moment is almost palpable. And how do I politely explain to the President of the United States that he can't just walk into a geopolitical minefield and declare it a U.S. territory? It's a delicate situation, to say the least. One wrong move, one wrong word, and the consequences could be catastrophic. And of course, the ever-present, I need to call my advisors. Because in moments like these, you need all the help you can get. You need a team of experts to help you navigate the complexities of the situation, and possibly my therapist. Because let's be honest, this is the kind of stress that can drive anyone to the brink. The kind of stress that makes you question everything you thought you knew about international relations. The best part of this whole surreal episode, Netanyahu, a man who prides himself on being in the loop, was apparently just as blindsided as the rest of us. It's a rare sight seeing someone so accustomed to being in control suddenly thrown off balance. Word on the street is Trump only told him about the whole Gaza is ours now thing minutes before their joint press conference. Minutes. Not hours, not days, but minutes. Just enough time for the shock to set in, but not enough time to formulate a coherent response. Because nothing says strong diplomatic alliance like dropping a geopolitical bombshell on your supposed ally at the last possible second. It's a move that defies all conventional wisdom, a move that leaves everyone scrambling to pick up the pieces. And in the midst of it all, there's Bibi, trying to keep his composure, trying to make sense of the chaos, and trying to figure out what comes next.